I'll just get us going on the episode. You ready, Jamie?
Yeah.
All right. Well, on this episode, or wait a second. Yeah. Take two. All right, we're back again. This week we had some stuff planned to talk about, and that whole thing fell through. So we're just kind of winging it, going a little random show. But before we get too far into it, I'm Andrew.
Jamie?
And I'm Dan.
And yeah, we'll just share some stories from the field. We got another 5-star review, and we'll just see where it goes. So Dan, you were saying you had a story from the field. What do you got?
Oh, I just what we were doing today. Just came in when you called. So excited that we finished this job. It was a Gary Oak, I believe, some type of white oak. I think it's a Gary Oak, and that's not that common up here.
Okay.
This far north, so it's kind of a big one, backyard, and everybody's worried about it. A nice old lady, remind me of like a storybook. The old lady lives in a shoe, kind of. You just kind of, I don't know why, but she's just trying to remind me of it. Walks with a cane, and really expensive place, but you could tell she's lived there forever because she wasn't fancy at all, but you could probably sell out for millions,
Yeah, that's always a little tricky when you get the old lady that you want to take care of, but she's got a giant tree that needs to be taken care of.
So it had this crack. So it's this oak, and then about 10 feet up, it spreads out into a crown, and there's a crack that starts right there, and it goes all the way to the ground.
Oh.
And both sides. And it's been there forever. It's got woundwood growing around it. And the crack, it's been there forever, but it's a huge crack. And spread out over 4 yards.
Wow.
And so everyone's worried about it. And I guess another tree company had looked at it, and they were so worried about it that they jumped up in the tree with a chain and a chain binder and chain bind it together. And temporary, like we can't walk away from this right now. We got to just put something in it. So they had a chain. When I went to bid it, I was like, "What is that?" There's like this big chain up there with a chain binder. Like, good on them to do that. Just hop up to do it.
Yeah,
but
that's a good sales tactic. Also, though, oh, we got to take care of this now. I'm putting my chain in it.
Yeah, you got to come back for the chain. I mean, who else are going to hire, right? Yeah. But they didn't hire.
I remember working with this for the city with you, Andrew, and I don't know if you were there, but there was an ash tree.
Yes,
that a homeowner put a motorcycle chain in. So it's like a bicycle chain, but way bigger. And they somehow got that wrapped around the union, and it was like holding the tree together.
Yeah, like
they would have had to like take the master link off and like reassemble the chain. It was impressive.
Oh wow, it's taken out of box.
Yeah. 30 feet up an ash tree that had a giant split in the crotch. So they really risked it all for that ash tree.
Yeah,
I think we just came in and cut it down.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we got that done. She had multiple bids, and she said everyone was all over the map. Some people were like, "No, you got to cut this down." Other people were, "Oh, we got to trim it." Prices were all over the map. So I was recommended. So she got me to come and look at it, and I said, "Oh no, we'll just, we can save it. We'll put some cables in it, and we'll put some through rods, some threaded rods through this crack, and do some end weight reduction on this heavy side over here. And so she was like, okay, you sound like you know what you're doing. Everyone else, I didn't know, but you seem to know what you're doing. So I'm going to hire you. So that was kind of a booster there. So we came in and I put, one climber, Lacey, she was working, doing the end weight reduction over the neighbor's yard over there. While she was doing that, I put the threaded rod in, and it wasn't quite 5 feet DBH. Not DBH because it was higher up, but 5 feet across, but it was damn near 5 feet across. And so that's always fun, with the drill bit, So I'm on the ladder. I start with a 2-foot bit, and then I jump to the 4-foot bit, and it wasn't quite enough. So then I finished off with the 5-foot bit.
Oh.
And then, but and it's just so you got to just go like 3 inches in, and then pull the whole thing out to get the wood out, and then go another 3 inches. It's this long process. Otherwise, you get it stuck. And that happened a couple of times where, okay, then I got this big, powerful drill, but it won't go in reverse. It won't go forward. It's like, oh, my God. So frustrating.
Yeah, that sucks.
But I did it while they were doing that. I got 3 threaded rods going through, like 3 different angles, 3 different heights. And so I felt pretty good about that. And then this threaded rod going right through. So little chunks of threaded rod, going right through with a one of those eye nuts on the end.
Yeah.
And then stainless steel cable. And put 2 of those because it was kind of it was a fanned out, multiple crotches. So took 2 big ones, put those in, took the chain out, took a couple of dead branches, broken branches and stuff, and boom, we're done. It was like 4:30. Crazy. Long day. For as little as we did,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it just takes time,
Yeah, I was about to say, drilling those big bits, that's a lot of work. So when you got it stuck, did you have to have like a wrench to turn it out a little bit till you could get it going again?
I wiggled and pulled and wiggled and pulled and wiggled and did reverse and forward and wiggled and pulled, and I could see tiny little movements. So finally I've got it busted, got it out. So I didn't have to put a wrench on, but I have had to put a wrench on before. Yeah.
Oh, I hate doing that.
Oh, yeah.
Sounds like a cool job. Did you get any pictures from it?
Yeah. Yeah, I got some pictures. I got a few pictures of my handiwork.
Cool. You should send them our way. I want to see that.
Okay. I'll send them your way. Yeah.
It's just you with a drill bit stuck into the tree.
I'll be honest with you. Once years ago, probably was 8 years, 7, 8. I don't know. But years ago, I got a bit so stuck in the damn tree I couldn't get it out. That bit is still in the tree. Start over.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I think we got it out, but I had one that got so stuck that we had to leave it there until we could come back for it. And there was one where we had to go and get a wrench because it wasn't big bit like that. I don't know if it was 5 feet or what, but I think it might have even been longer because I remember it was a big cottonwood. We were actually there's this oak that leaned over somebody's house, and it was a big old oak, but then there's a giant cottonwood way back in their property, probably 100 feet away or so. And so we cabled the oak to the cottonwood.
Okay.
It was the only way they would let us, they basically, it was either remove the oak or cable it to the cottonwood.
Interesting.
And so it was just a big fatty cottonwood, and it was to the point where I was standing on the against the cottonwood trunk, and I'd have to like hold like standing vertical like the old 60s Batman climbing the building, and I was like holding the drill above my head, and I'd have to push it down, and it got so stuck. It was like I had to go back and take all morning just to hand turn this freaking drill out.
Oh my gosh.
Like it was a nightmare. I mean, this was years ago, and I still wake up in a cold sweat sometimes.
Right? You just want to cry. You're just like, oh.
Yeah, been there. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good story from the field, and it saved a big, beautiful oak.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah, she was super happy at the end. She was, super happy. She's like, oh, I'm so glad someone recommended you. They said you were the best. I'm like, oh, shucks.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Yeah. So
what you guys been up to? Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say our last episode was all about the white oak, the old Oregon white oak, and in the research it says its natural range is from Southern California up to British Columbia. That's what everywhere I looked, that's what it said the range was. But you're saying that it's pretty rare up where you're at in Seattle. You don't get a bunch of them up there.
Yeah, really rare.
Okay.
Really rare. We get pin oaks. We got those red oaks, the pin oaks.
Yeah.
But and I hate those.
Yeah.
Of course, but.
Yeah, those ones are funny. It's a.
I should have said I hate them, but they are.
They test.
No. Yeah. Every little branch is like a 90-degree and super strong, and will hang up, and you can't pull it out.
Yeah, those trees will draw blood.
Yeah.
They are not messing around.
We call it the branch-a-lanch when you're pruning a pin oak and you get them all like this big nest underneath you, and you're trying to stomp it through the rest of the canopy.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, it's those white oaks are one of my favorite trees though. Just they've got just that classic oak shape, and it's just beautiful structure, and yeah, I love those things.
And the wood's pretty. Yeah, burns well. Wood's pretty. Everything's good about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You got a story, Andrew?
Yeah.
Well, my story from the field isn't really from the field, but so a couple episodes ago we put out one about the crane removal we did during the holiday farm fire.
Mm-hmm.
And so in kind of promoting that episode, we put some pictures out on the social medias, on the Instagram and the Facebook. And so part of what I do is I'll go share it on a couple of those Facebook arborist groups, like tree work
tips and tricks
or tree climbing tips and tricks. And there's, international arborist, a few different ones that I'll put it on. And holy camole, did people have something to say about that one? And so it
like what kind of stuff? Like, give me a gist of it.
Well, so first things first, we're talking about a small sample size here of people responding. I think 34,000 people saw that post. Which kind of which is crazy to me, right? There's just these groups have a ton of arborists.
Viral? I don't know how much it goes go viral, but that seems like a lot.
Yeah,
wow.
As far as me or the Tree Thinking podcast goes, that's viral. I mean, I'm sure there's people out there where that's nothing,
right?
But for me, that's crazy,
right?
But and 100 people or so gave it the thumbs up or whatever, so. Really, the sample size, there's probably 5 or 6 people, though, that came on there and just went hard mainly about the way I tied into the crane.
Yeah, it's interesting because when I saw it, I've only done a couple crane jobs, and it was something I was shown right off, like, this is how you tie into a crane. So when I saw yours, I was like, yeah, maybe that is not right. Because then I saw all the comments too, and I'm like, yeah, I guess that maybe that's not right. I wonder if Andrew knows that.
Yeah. And so I'll be the first to admit, by no means am I like the crane removal expert guy, right? So I'm trying to keep an open mind and learn with everything I do, and this is no exception to that rule. But my thought process.
How was it that you tied in? I didn't notice the picture of you tied in.
So I
guess I didn't see all the pictures.
Yeah, I tied into the hook. And so that's one thing that people were saying is you got to tie in above the ball on a friction saver, which sounds like a really smart way to do it, right?
But you had a canopy anchor on the hook. You were climbing SRS, single rope.
Yep.
Canopy anchored on the hook.
Yeah.
On a crane that's not doing any picks at all. It's just there to lift you.
The only purpose was to be a safe place.
So you had like a running bowline on the hook?
So
running bowline on the hook?
What I did, and I can't remember why I tied it like this, but I tied a clove hitch, and then basically I did a bowline with a really big loop and then did a clove hitch because I wanted something that wouldn't turn at all, and a running bowline would have been a way smarter way to do it. This is like a year ago, so I can't remember the exact thought process, but I do remember, like, I talked with, there's like 4 or 5 arborists there and a bunch of crane guys. And we went back and forth on the safest way to tie into this.
Oh, interesting. And no one.
And so they talked about, they even they had one of the rings that you can tie into above the ball.
Yeah.
And they're like, we don't need this because, from what I understand, and again, I might be talking into a microphone, but I'm not like the end all say all here.
Yeah. We have a disclaimer for that.
Yeah, exactly. Listen to the disclaimer at the beginning of the episodes. The idea was that you tie into double rope on that above the ball on that hook. That way you can set your you can go down, set your pick, and then detach from the crane while you lift the pick away, and then bring the ball back, tie back into the crane. It can move you to where you want or whatever.
Yeah.
And for yeah, and so for me, I'm just going to be tied into that crane. There's no picks on that crane. We had another crane to do all the picks. So, the idea is basically you're canopy anchoring into the
hook.
Into the hook.
Yeah.
And the other thing about it is that hook he put that on. That's his life safety gear. He actually showed up with a man basket that you can like stand in and work in, that, like on a construction site, they'd lift you up and put you on the top of the building and stuff with. But I was like, I'd rather not be in the basket. If things go sideways, I'd rather be able to be tied in and have at least some control of my own descent and whatnot. And it goes even further because like this big, massive cut I was doing, I was actually standing on the edge of this like 5-story building. So I was, so they like positioned the crane I was tied into far enough away. So if the top started shifting, I could actually just jump off the building and it would swing me away from the whole thing. So which sounds crazy, but again, we talked about it a lot, and there was other trees around. I was on a ledge, so I couldn't really jump back, and I'd have had to jump down off of something to get out of there. And with being tied in, that'd be really crazy to try to jump and run on the roof while being tied in.
Mm-hmm.
So we decided the safest thing is if things went crazy, I could kind of run along the top and then jump off and swing out of the way. And so, that's why I tied in the way I did.
That would have been a cool shot.
That would have been, yeah, that would have been really cool. Yeah. Yeah.
So that was all the criticism. So all the criticism was just how you tied into the hook.
Yeah.
Yeah. But people were like, I don't come to this web page to see people die.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah,
there's like
yeah.
comments like that, and I'm like, well, I mean, that seems a little harsh, man. You know?
Hey, come on.
Yeah,
Just because you tied into the hook. People used to tie into the hook, you know? It's
yeah. I mean,
not,
and it's interesting because I'm a little old school that way. Like I think about what's going to be safe, you know, and so I wasn't thinking about like, oh, how are you supposed to do it? I was thinking, all right.
right,
I was kind of building it in my head. I was like, okay, well, I know that the hook was going to be the life safety for the man basket. The crane operator
right,
said he was fine so long as we're not using that for picks, that I could tie into it. I'm just canopying anchoring
right.
onto the hook. You know, obviously, you know, you lock the hook closed and put a bolt through it, so there's no way you can slide off the end of the hook, and you know, do all that type of stuff. So in my mind, it's
Right,
like I'm
right.
hooking
So,
life safety to life
yeah,
safety. You
yeah.
know, but
Yeah, well,
But-
5 people got to take their stick out of their butt or
Yeah.
something. Yeah.
well,
But is it a rule, Andrew? Because I remember we talked the other night and we were talking about it, and you said you looked up and kind of like cleared things up.
yeah.
right?
So I wish I had the ANSI book with me right now, because I looked in ANSI Z133. It says you can tie into the hook, you know, and there is people that's like, this is 100% illegal to have the hook lift you. But I'm pretty sure that if you're, you know, if the alternative is climbing a tree that's been compromised, you know, I think if you
Well,
can climb a tree and it's safe, then you know that's probably the better way to do it. I mean, to be honest,
I think, yeah, I think when they say tie into the hook, they don't mean literally tying into the hook. You know, they mean tying into that area. You know, you don't usually tie into the hook itself. You tie into above the hook,
yeah.
but they still call that tying into the hook.
Okay.
Well,
You know what I mean?
and in ANSI it says tying in above the ball or into the hook.
oh, really?
I think so.
Okay.
You know what? One sec. I think
Yeah.
I have a copy inside the house, and I'm gonna look it up right now. So through the magic of editing, I'll be right back. Yeah, because I want to get this right.
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, you got a crane, right, Dan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Small crane. Nothing like what you guys are using out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when I first,
You guys are using something huge.
yeah, I actually wasn't on that job. I was working with Andrew at the time, but I was out of town when all that stuff went down. So I had to watch from afar. Missed all the action.
Yeah.
Are you getting ready for Naom?
No, I am excited about it, but I haven't actually started getting ready. Well, I take that back. I bought a new rope.
Okay.
So I do have a new rope.
Yeah.
I got a new prospect. Okay, I got a new rope. I got a new prospect. So I've got a little prepared for it. But you know what's funny is it must be on my mind, this competition, even though I'm taking it as a mellow, climb with friends, have a good time type of competition.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've competed, and it's in my brain because I've now had 3 dreams that involved Masters challenges, and all 3 of them were crazy.
Yeah.
The latest one was the craziest. It was the Masters challenge, and it was being done in the living room. So I was in this guy's living room, and I'm trying to traverse across the living room and stuff. And I like almost knock over the stereo equipment. I have to have someone help me push the stereo equipment back up before stereo equipment falls down. That was crazy.
Yeah.
So it's definitely in my mind.
That's hilarious. Drop a speaker, you're disqualified.
Yeah.
Right. My birthday, a big TV screen that was falling over, and I was like, oh. And then they're like, do you want to do? Right, exactly. Because I had to have someone help me push the stereo system back. So they're like, You're like, we want to just come down now, and I was like, okay, I'll come down.
No.
And they handed me this third place plaque that they had made out of a plate, and they had, decorated the plate and wrote third place on the plate and stuff.
Oh, that's great.
All right. So
Found it.
I've got it right here.
All right,
It's
and Andrew's back.
yeah, I'm back. We got section 5.7.11. A qualified arborist may be hoisted into position utilizing a crane if he or she is tied in with an arborist climbing line and an arborist saddle and secured to an anchor point on or above the crane hook or to the crane ball.
Interesting.
Yep. The following procedure shall be followed when a qualified arborist is to be hoisted by a crane. And then it has a bunch of sub stuff to it. But I mean that seems pretty clear to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, seems pretty. If you're a qualified arborist, whatever that is, you will secure yourself professionally to that area there. Yeah.
Yep. And I like to think of myself as a qualified arborist, so
Yeah, you definitely are.
Yeah, so it but the thing about it is I post these, post them on Facebook, share them onto these sites, and then just like put my phone down and don't even think about it, because I try to not get too caught up in like checking the social medias all the time and whatnot. So I just post them and go on about my business. A few hours later, I've had a couple beers and hanging out. I think it was Saturday night. And, I just get on there and look, and it's like, oh man, there's been a lot of replies. And so I get on there and it's just like, boom, boom, boom. And, I'm a couple beers down. So my first thought is like, motherfucker, you don't know what you're talking about, Hey, but
your address.
Yeah, it's we all, hey, tree guys got egos. You can say that you don't, but we all got them because we all do this super cool stuff. And that stuff is what builds egos. When you do a job where like the person that's paying you thousands of dollars to do the job is coming out and was like, that's the most amazing thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It eventually starts, leaking into your subconscious a little bit, That being said.
So then someone nitpicks you, and that someone, couldn't even get up in the tree. You're like, come on.
Yeah. It hurts.
Well, yeah. And, like it starts rising up. You're just like, ugh. But again, I try not to like post and do a lot of interactions on social media because as that idiot that could be on social media commenting, I realize it's a bunch of idiots on social media commenting, and so, I kind of, I think I put something on there just like, hey, maybe you didn't notice the crane I was tied into wasn't being used for picks, and that's why I was able to tie in that way, or something to that effect. And and people, and that was in some ways that was a mistake because people were like, oh, he's responding, he's interacting, and so it was just like that's 100% illegal. And there's people on there like, I'm from Philadelphia or from Pennsylvania, and I'm pretty sure that's where that crew is, and that's illegal. And it's like, nope, man, I'm in Oregon, and it's just like these little things. But I was able to kind of keep it calm and just like, you know what, I'm going to put it down. I'll look at it again later. And in the morning, I looked at it again, and it was like a totally different perspective. And I can't remember exactly what I put on there, but it was something to the effect of like, hey, thanks for looking out, guys. I'm always trying to learn. So much appreciated. I'll look into these rules, and, we're all trying to get better type of a thing. Yeah. Because that's really what it boils down to when I'm not a couple beers deep and letting my ego get the best of me. And then I started thinking about it, and after I posted that, some of those guys that were going hard like came back and were like, sorry for being a dick, man. I'm just trying to I'm just trying to help, and so I realized, it went out to 30-some thousand people.
I think what it is there's a disconnect, right? They just see a picture, they don't see you, but once you comment like, hey, you know, they're like, oh, that's a person. Like, hey,
Yeah.
man, I'm sorry that I was like that, you know?
Yeah. Well, and, you know, people have different ways of trying to help.
Yeah.
You know, some people yell at you when they're trying to tell you how to do something, not because they're trying to be dicks, but because that's how they were taught.
Right.
You know, so that's how they're trying to teach. You know, and there was oh gosh, I can't remember his name. I'm horrible with names, but Eric something or another. He you know, on there, I think someone else was like, that's the man for crane training. And, you know, it looked like does a lot of crane training. And he actually was like, hey, man, you know, what you're doing looks great. Keep up the good work. You know, the only thing I could see is maybe put a cambium saver on there. And looking back on it, be like, you know what? That's really smart because rope on steel can be a little rough. And I think that's why we put a clove hitch or something so that it couldn't just be rubbing back and forth as we were moving. But an even better way to do that is put a cambium saver on there. You know, so
people are gonna lose their minds. You talking about climbing on a clove hitch?
Well, okay, it was a bowline,
yeah,
and within the loop there was a clove hitch. Yeah, but you know, and so I think that was my takeaway was, you know, yeah, I'm sure some of those people that were just like, I don't come on here to watch people die. You know, that guy's just trolling. That guy's just trying to pour a little gas on the fire, you know.
Yeah,
but
he probably had a few beers too, right?
Yeah, exactly. And in the end, we're all a bunch of tree guys just trying to, you know, make the industry better and share stories. And the other reality of it, it was a kick-ass removal, and I had a bunch of fun. And despite the drama that went on behind the scenes, it fucking went off without a hitch, and all's well that ends well. So, you know. But shout out to all those people that were coming hard at me and trying to teach me something new because, it was kind of fun.
It made you crack open the ANSI and actually read the rules and figure it out. That's
it did.
Cool.
Yeah. It 100% did. It, you know, and so if nothing else, that helped make me a little better right there.
Right. And probably not just you. There's other people too.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. And, yeah, there was something else I was going to say about it, but yeah, I can't remember now. If it's that important, it'll come up and come out.
But I have a pretty cool way that I attach that I like.
Yeah.
So I've got a little crane, but we attach the climber all the time to the hook. So putting the climber up in the tree, maybe he'll attach the slings on and stuff, and then he'll rappel down, and then he'll take his rope off, and then he'll make it.
Yeah.
And I've got my hook, and then above the hook is a round ball, like a big weight. That's a round ball. Because I have a small hook. I don't have that huge hook that's hard to move in the tree. I have as small hook as I can. But and so I have to have a weight. And so it's a round ball above the hook. So the cable will come down. And above that, I have a great big shackle. Is it a shackle called where you screw it in?
Yeah, it's like a horseshoe with a bolt that goes through it.
Yeah, is that a shackle or a clevis?
I've always called it a shackle, but again,
Corey would know.
I'm the idiot that tied into a crane with a clove hitch, so don't listen to me.
So it's a shackle, and then it's a huge one, like an industrial, where they stamp the tonnage on that its working load is on it.
Yeah.
And then on that shackle, I have two industrial swivels. And I don't really use the swivels, of course, because there's two of them, but it's just a double ring. So two of those that go through that pin.
Okay.
And then that pin is wired. The pin is wired shut. and that just sits on the ball, and then the two shackles are on that pin. So then the climber puts or not two shackles, two swivels, and the climber puts his line through both swivels.
Okay.
I mean, they're both industrial, so you could just put through one, but there's enough room for two, so I put two on there, so you have kind of a backup, and it kind of makes it, instead of a tight bend, it spreads the bend out more for your rope to go through.
Yeah.
And then so the climber just puts his rope through both of those, and that just stays on there. I don't have to take it on and off. It's just on there. It's really nice.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And and it kind of sits to the side of the ball, so the rope kind of hangs to the side of the hook, which is, kind of nice.
Yeah. Yeah, that seems pretty legit. There, I was, when all this went down, my first thing is like, all right, there's a blind spot. I'm going to educate myself. So I started looking at different cambium savers, and there's some pretty cool ways that people do it. But I mean, that sounds good to me. As good as any.
Just wrapped a friction saver around above the ball.
Yeah.
Like around the cable.
Yep. That's
They have those ones made for the cable, like the super heavy duty ones.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think it's got two ropes and a sleeve over them or something like that. And I thought about those, but mine just works so good that I'm just like, oh, this is just so bomber. It's all tonnage stuff, and
Yeah, it sounds great.
I haven't.
Yeah. But so that it was a great opportunity to educate myself, and now I know another way to tie in also.
Yeah.
But yeah, so those shackles, I remember a crane removal I was doing a long time ago when it was it was probably like my second or third crane removal. It was probably like right around 2000. And I pulled the screw out. We were taking these big furs out, and we were just taking sections to put on logging trucks, and I pulled the little screw out and just fumbled it and dropped it. And I was, up 120 feet up in this fur.
Oh.
And that thing came down and hit so hard. And, luckily everybody was okay. I was like, oh, shit, getting shit from the crane guys and everybody, So nobody could find the screw when it was on the, down on the ground. And so they sent up some more rigging, and they finished the removals. And they're like, hey, man, that, it's a big old pin. So they're like, that's a $90 pin, dude. So you guys either have to replace it or find it, and hey, I understand if I lost it. But so I'm looking all around at the base of this tree, and it was all bark mulch on the ground. And we had probably 3 or 4 people look over this whole area, and nobody could find it. And I see a spot in the bark mulch where it was cratered down. And I was like, well, that looks like where it hit. So I just start digging. And I probably dug down like 6 inches, and it was buried in the ground, like, significantly far down, to the point where, like, holy shit, like, if that,
wow,
yeah, that is a freaking torpedo coming out of the tree.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah.
That would have embedded right in someone's head.
Oh,
wow.
my goodness.
Yeah,
No.
it must have landed straight. Yeah, it must have landed straight down, and wow.
Yeah, just freaking like a spear, Oh,
Wow.
man. Yeah. So I've been fucking up doing crane shit for a long time, so let me have it. Yeah. But yeah, so that's my story from the field.
Nice.
Yeah, the
Ah.
Facebook drama behind, about the crane tie off. Oh,
Well, shoot, while we're talking about cranes, I can tell you a time when I almost died working with a crane.
oh yeah. Yeah, with cranes, when it goes south, it can go way south if you don't watch out.
Yeah. So you want to hear my story from the field?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay. All right. So this is back on the Big Island, back in the 80s. And so we're doing working for my dad. We're doing I'm sorry, can you hear the dog barking in the background here?
Oh yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, that doesn't bother me.
Okay.
We're dog friendly.
Okay. Okay. The dogs are having fun. I'm in the backyard. So it's like a blue gum eucalyptus, and about 160 foot, and um, kind of wolfy, because it was let to grow by itself, so they get these big arms on them. And those blue gums, I don't know if you've done many blue gums, but
No.
they're no joke. They're like serious business. And this was old school back in the 80s, where it's like 3-strand manila, natural cross, negative reading
Yeah.
stuff. And so we go out there, and it's like over wires. It's like a big removal. And it was also like the day I got promoted to lead Badass Climbers too. Or not today, but then.
That adds a little pressure also. If you're all of a sudden being promoted, you feel like you got to prove yourself when you're young and up and coming, and you got that new promotion.
Well, it's promotion. It was a promotion after kind of thing. It was no ceremony. No ceremony, nothing was really said, but like it happened,
Yeah.
Because like when we show up and the lead badass climber, who always likes to say that he's lead badass climber, he went up and he got up about halfway, and I think there was some wind involved or something, and he just like stopped and just like hanging out for 5 minutes. And like, so like finally the foreman was like, "Hey, you want to come down?" And he like comes down, and the foreman like looks at me like, "Hey, you up for this?" I was like, "Yeah." I went and got my big boy pants on and came back. And so I don't know what his deal was. I don't know. Maybe he drank too much the night before, or smoked some weed on the way to the job site. Something, could have been anything with him. So anyway, back to the story. So we're working the tree, and we have a crane. My dad had a crane, but it only reached to 80 feet. So I'm working the bottom branches and stuff, and then I come down for lunch, and then he takes me back up with the crane, probably hung right from the hook, I don't know. But I'm sure we hung right from the hook. But this is an 80. Takes me back up, and so I'm right next to the top of the crane when I get on the trunk. And I hook line in, and unhook from the crane, and immediately go to the other side of the tree, because it was actually my dad running the crane, and it's my dad's crane, but it's not. My dad's not like the crane operator. He kind of likes to show up on the job, play with his toys for a little bit, and then take off. So I was like, if he hits the wrong lever, I'm screwed. I got all this metal right over my head. So I immediately go to the other side of the tree, and sure enough, I think someone came up and asked him a question, which like a huge no-no. You never ask a crane operator a question when operating the crane. But he hits the wrong lever. Boom, goes right down the trunk. Would have just smashed the crap out of me, He would have had to come up and retrieve. That was like, the crap. The cranes make a huge noise and get right down the throat.
Wow.
And what can I do? It's my dad. I was like scared to death of him. I couldn't even give him the double bird from 80 feet away.
Yeah, holy smoke! That's interesting. It's kind of crazy how you get those intuitions, and this is why it's so important to listen to him. You just had that feeling of like, I probably should get out from under there. And like, how many times have you worked with? I mean, you trusted him to just lift you up into the tree, so obviously you trust him. But that just shows when you get that feeling, listen to it. Even if 10, even if like 10 out of 11 times it's wrong, that one time might be, they might drop the crane shit on you.
Right.
Oh man, that's crazy.
Yeah. Protect yourself. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just start jugging up, finish the tree, get
Yeah.
back to work.
Yeah.
But,
Man, crazy. Yeah. It was nothing that bad, but I remember I was doing a removal. It was a big crane removal, and I think I talked about it, the big butternut removal.
Yeah.
I think on the storm work episode, and we were taking these giant chunks, and we worked until like 1 a.m. It was this huge ordeal, and on one of them, the crane operator had pulled it too tight, and there's these big pieces, and so when I cut through it, it like lifted it up, and it sprung up and then just dropped in front of me, and just bam, 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 like 3 or 4 times, just like a hydraulic press, just boom, 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 like a foot away from me. And that was one of those moments where I'm just like just leaning as far back as I possibly could in my harness, and just like, oh shit.
Wow. Yeah.
But yeah,
we're so fragile compared to that,
Yeah. I can't remember who.
You know?
Rob used to say it all the time, and I think it was like in a first aid class that we took, or in some training we took, but it was like, think of yourself as a grape.
Yeah.
When you're in the tree world, because the forces are so impressive that we're just like this little skin with this like mushy stuff underneath.
Yeah.
And it just as easily as you can smash a grape, a tree can smash you. It's crazy.
Yeah, wood is hard, we are soft.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But,
yeah.
I don't know, Jamie, you got any stories from the field?
No crane stories that I could think of, like anything on topic. Probably nothing as exciting. I did do a really cool tree I pruned. Was it last week or the week before? It was a tulip poplar, which are the tallest broadleaf in North America, I'm pretty sure.
I think I've heard that.
I think there's one that's like
I did not know that.
191 foot tulip poplar somewhere. I think it's out east, like New Jersey or something.
Yeah.
But so I've never seen one that big. They get big here, but never that big. And I go to prune this tree, and my boss tells me, he's like, it's a big ass tulip poplar. You're gonna have fun. So I get in the backyard, and this thing is massive. I wish I would have taken a D tape out, but had to be. I bet if I laid down at the base, I'm 6 feet tall. It was, at least as long as me,
Yeah.
And I'm just making a couple end weight cuts, so it was awesome. 4 different limbs out on this tree, so I got to swing around and get to all these limbs. One was at the way top of the canopy. So I had a 200-foot rope, got to my final tie-in, and used up all of that, and there was still tree ahead of me. So we estimated this thing was 110 feet tall, roughly, maybe a little more, which for a broadleaf here, that's so impressive.
Oh, yeah.
It was so cool, like looking at the tops of fir trees around me in this big, big tulip poplar.
Yeah.
Awesome tree. But yeah, the hardest cut was way at the top. Doing a reduction one, I was able to get out in this weird spot and zip line it out of the canopy. It's just a good time.
Those trees are some of my favorite. There's a couple really big ones around town. I think the tallest broadleaf tree I've climbed is probably a tulip poplar that's over. It's over just, I guess it's just south of Harlow, if you're in Eugene. You know that. But there's those neighborhoods there, and there's one that just randomly has this massive poplar tree in it, and we used to get the deadwood out in it. And I remember climbing it when all the flowers were
awesome
out, and it was just like, what is even going on right now?
Yeah.
Like I'm in this giant broadleaf tree that's taller than all the conifers around me, and there's flowers all over it.
Yeah.
This is like from from a movie or something.
Kind of an interesting part to the job is that the homeowner hired us to do the end weight reduction cuts, but wanted someone else to do the canopy clean. So I was trying my hardest not to touch any deadwood, like making sure, because tulip poplar is really fragile. If your rope hits some deadwood, it's gonna fall out of the tree.
Yeah.
So I'm like really trying not to touch any of it.
That is crazy.
Yeah, it was weird. And apparently they had already
Yeah, I
done
never heard of that.
Apparently they had already done the canopy clean because there were some fresh cuts lower on, but there was like big deadwood, big hangers way up high in the canopy. So I don't know what was going on. It's kind of funny.
I wonder if they hired him to clean the canopy out, and then they didn't get those extended branches, and so they called him up like, "Hey, you missed some," and they were like, "No, we're just cleaning the deadwood. We're not getting those out."
Yeah.
You know.
We're just 40
We
feet
don't
up,
do that.
right up against the trunk. That's what we do.
Yeah. Well, I hate to say it, but there are those guys out there.
Yeah.
You know?
I wondered if maybe it was a price thing, our work orders, our line items like canopy clean this much, end weight reduction this much kind of thing, and maybe someone gave them a lower,
Yeah.
I don't know. That could happen. I'm sure it's happened.
Yeah.
Who knows? I just thought it was funny to like try not to touch deadwood while I was up there.
Yeah, if we touch it, we're gonna have to clean it up, and that's just more work for us.
That was a really cool tree.
Yeah.
And then today we did kind of a cool project where the clients were just super stoked and they were very nice, but we did a small fir removal to give priority to a white oak that was getting totally shaded out by it and just growing like out over the street.
Yeah.
So we removed this fir and we talked them into carving a habitat snag. And when we got there, my boss had given them that option, but they didn't know what it was about. So I got to like go and explain to them like habitat snags. Well, me and Becca and then our coworker, Mark.
Yeah.
And we talk about habitat snags all the time. So it's like you light up, you're like, okay, here we go.
Yeah.
We showed them. So I removed the fir and we start carving it up. I, do my thing. And then we have the bid's good. We got some other work, but I was going to come down and do some other work. So I had Becca go up and put some things on the snag as well. And then our other coworker went up and put some things on the snag as well. So it was like a collab, and it turned out really cool. And then we brought the clients out and they were so stoked.
A little wildlife snag collab.
Yeah.
I love it.
And right after, we got done carving it, people were walking through the neighborhood and one lady stopped. She's like, wow, did that tree break right there? It's like, that's what we're going for. No, we actually cut it like that. Yeah. So that was a cool job.
That's like the ultimate in respect for your wildlife snag.
Yeah.
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 I'm excited about a project I got coming up with. Speaking of wildlife snags, we got a project that's supposed to last almost a month.
Oh, wow.
But we'll see. Yeah.
Wow.
And my wife has been working on it. She's consulting arborist, and she's been working on this project for a year or more, kind of thing, off and on, where there's lots of different people involved, and so. But one of the people involved are bird people. They're concerned about birds. And then the other people involved are the condominium owners, and they want this trees worked on. And then the bird people, don't want the trees worked on, basically.
Yeah.
But, so there's all this stuff my wife has been doing, trying to negotiate between all these different parties. And so we got the job, and so part of the trees are going to be reduced in size so that they have a view. And but they're for bird people, and they want natural habitat. So we get to make snacks.
Oh,
And
cool.
so I'm like, oh, this will be so cool because, we can perfect our art in these wildlife snags while we're doing it. You know, we can do all kinds of birdhouses and, you know, take pictures and do all kinds of stuff. So I'm excited about that coming up just for that reason, that we can do all these different wildlife. And like the bird people, you know, we got to appease the bird people. They'll be like, whoa, this is great. You know, you made it better even.
Oh, that's awesome. That'll be a fun project.
I got a wildlife snag tip from our buddy Scott Altenhoff. The other day we were talking about him, and he was saying certain birds will like to excavate their hole. So if there's a hole already made for them, they might just move on from that. So if you like bore a hole into a tree, get some stuff from the ground, like moss, lichen, loam, like whatever is laying around, and just pack that hole again. And then he knew this, you know, specific birds that would come along and do it.
Yeah.
But some of those birds will be stoked to be like, oh, I get to do some work and like dig out this home for myself.
Right.
Yeah. There's there's so much to it.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I'm going to research it. I'm going to get ready for this project, and I'm going to get, you know, different hole sizes for the different birds.
Yeah.
For their nests and tips like that would be great.
Yeah.
And then, you know, just kind of do it up.
Oh, you know who would the person to talk to would be David Anderson.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He was on a little while ago, and he's a bird expert. He like climbs trees down in South America or Central America, I think, studying all these birds. And I think he lives in Boise, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Canopy Watch if you ever want to look at
Canopy Watch.
It's his organization.
Oh yeah. I listened to that episode. Yeah.
Yeah, and if you're listening to this, check out Canopy Watch, because they are an awesome organization doing good and moving science forward,
doing cool stuff.
Cool.
Yeah.
Right on. Well, I don't know what are you guys thinking? Do you want to keep going stories from the field? Do you guys want to wrap it up? Where's everybody at?
Kind of up to you, Dan. We got you on the phone, so
yeah.
I don't know.
you got any?
It seems like I've been talking a lot.
That's not a problem. You know, that's one of the funny things about podcasting. Like the episodes, you know, I had a few people tell me that the crane removal episode, they're like, oh yeah, I loved it. There was great content there. And for me, it drove me crazy because it was just me talking the whole time. Yeah. For the most part, you know, there's a little bit from Corey and stuff, but like hearing myself talk is like, oh God. But
right.
But I guess that's what we're doing on a podcast. So. But
yeah.
All right. So yeah, I think we're just wrapping up stories from the field. And whenever we get 5-star reviews, we want to shout them out on the podcast. So we figured we would do that with a different way. We're going to do Dave's Gourmet Ghost Pepper Hot Sauce. And Jamie is going to take a ghost chip, put some of the ghost pepper hot sauce on it. We couldn't find the ghost pepper actual.
Put a lot on there.
Yeah, he'll put a bunch on there.
I won't be shy.
Yeah.
We got video of it, right?
Yeah. We're gonna get on Instagram. All right, here.
Okay. You have the 5-star review pulled up?
You know what? Here, let me try to figure this out. Well, all right, Dan, I'm sorry if I hang up on you. I'm trying to pull up a thing on my phone and talk, and I'm not very technological.
All right, Andrew, you got to tell me if this is a good enough amount. Oh, my God.
Yeah, turns out that bottle pours pretty fast.
I don't know if they can see that.
Yeah,
here. That is a bowl of hot sauce.
Yeah. Oh God, Jamie, this is not going to go well. All right, here. I gotta get on here somehow, and
I go ahead and say, send in your 5-star reviews, and I'll keep doing this. So here we go.
All right, and here you are. All right. How you doing? Is it kicking in right off the bat? Kind of tell me what's going on.
Not so bad yet.
Oh man.
It's starting.
Now it's starting. Oh, the face is turning red. I'll have to be the play-by-play for the people that aren't watching live.
Yeah.
The face is starting to turn a little red.
Okay.
Gonna have to have a little drink of beer to help cool it. What? How you doing?
I'm okay so far.
Okay, so
Yeah.
have you had ghost peppers before?
Yeah.
How is this compared to the last time you had ghost peppers?
Oh, it's getting there.
It's getting there. All right. I mean,
Yeah.
that was a little bowl of ghost pepper hot sauce.
Woo! Okay.
All right. Are we ready to read this,
Yeah,
or do you need to let it set in a little bit? Oh, can you read that? Is the question? Oh no. All right.
Okay. We got a 5-star review.
Oh no. Oh.
A 5-star review. It says, "Come for the trees, stay for the dot dot dot." Holy smokes! What can I say? It's rad, man. Having been raised on a tumbleweed farm myself, it is refreshing to see some representation of my people on a pod. Holy smokes, man! This hurts. Whew.
You got this. You got it.
No disrespect to Corey, but Pack Talk Bold is better than you think, man.
No, you can disrespect Corey.
No more syncing headsets every morning. But I digress. I better go finish work. I'm a contract saw fuel and oil technician. It's a very important job. But I don't have to tell you folks. You know. Thank you so much for that review. Holy smokes.
Who was it?
Dying. I don't know.
It up in the corner, if you can still see.
Oh, from Bibley Shank. September 15th, 2021. Thank you so much.
Thank you, buddy. All right. Yeah, Jamie, it looks like it's kicking in right now.
My eyes are watering. So
Oh, yeah.
people are watching this. There's 2 people watching.
Jamie's doing it for you, too.
That's good
Oh,
content.
3. Someone just came in and missed
That's
it.
good content.
Oh, Charles just came in and missed it. Oh, yeah, just a chip full. This wasn't a dip in ghost pepper sauce. This was a chip full of goat pepper hot sauce. Oh, man. Took one for the team right there. Woo.
Okay, are we going to sign off or what?
All right. So, Jamie, what's your final thoughts?
My final thoughts are that was very hot.
Are you even thinking?
Not really.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for the review.
Yeah. So if you want to see Jamie do that again, if you want, next time he's going to chug the bottle. No, he won't be chugging the bottle. But if it's not that, we'll find something else. We try to have fun with the 5-star reviews.
Yeah.
I'll move on to Dan because Jamie's just holding on. Dan, what are your final thoughts?
Oh, you guys are crazy. That's my final thought. You guys are crazy.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well,
All right.
I
Nice
think,
talking to you.
yeah, yep. I think my final thoughts here are, well, yeah, it's always good just sharing stories because, one, it's good to catch up with tree buddies, and 2, that's how we share knowledge. So, with that, I'll say stay safe and keep learning. And send in those 5-star reviews. I want Jamie to take some more ghost pepper.
Nice talking to you, Dad.
Nice talking to you. Have a good night.
You too, man.
Bye, guys.